What is going on, traders? What an amazing day. We got to talk about it. Before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So right now we're looking at the daily time frame on the triple Qs. And I said this in the past two videos that I do think we're going to get one more pump before possibly dumping across the market. What price targets did I give you guys? I gave you guys 525. We hit 525. I said 530 if we're being optimistic. We hit 530.6. So the question is, can we head higher from here? And if we're being really, and I mean absolutely crazy, we can head as high as about 535, 538.5. If you want to be crazy, by all means, 540. So where am I getting this price target from? So we're looking at the daily time frame, and we right now we're breaking above a much smaller rising wedge and heading towards the top of a much bigger rising wedge. And this will lead to that rollover effect that I always talk about. You guys witnessed it all the time on this channel. If you've been watching my channel for quite some time, then you see this happen all the time, where anytime we break above a rising wedge pattern, typically it leads to a false breakout, and then we start seeing a rollover effect. And you see it mapped out here, where we head towards about 538.5, 535 if we're being humble, and then we start rolling back over, start heading towards this gap fill at around 516.5, 517. So I do think we're going to see more upside this week. I do think we're going to head a little bit higher, and then from there we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised we see profit taker prior to Christmas, and then we start entering maybe a Santa rally, because historically Santa rallies happen after Christmas, not before Christmas. But regardless, we've been running like crazy all year. I would imagine that we already had our Santa rally. I could be wrong there. That's completely fine, but definitely something to. I'm just not optimistic about the Santa rally. That's just me. I think it's already happened. I think it's already currently happening. But historically, if we are talking about a Santa rally, if we're anticipating a Santa rally, I will look for it to happen after Christmas. I think profit taking is going to happen before the holidays, and this is pretty much confirming that that can happen. So that's what I'm looking at for the triple Qs. We look at the NQ. I told you guys 21,800 is my target for the NQ. And so we pretty much invalidated this head and shoulders pattern. I mean, this thing got destroyed. We got CPI data, right? And CPI data just absolutely destroyed this thing. So it looks like we're heading higher. And again, I think we're heading towards that 22,000. I told you guys 21,800 is one of my targets if we do get that pump. And highest we're looking at is about 22K before possibly seeing some type of sell off. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to the NQ. I mean, you see it here, beautiful rising wedge pattern. We're slightly breaking above it, or we're currently breaking above it. And so, again, if we start breaking above this and head towards 22K at some point in time, I do imagine we're going to see that rollover effect happen, and then roll back into the pattern and start heading back towards the downside. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to the NQ. We look at the ES. ES. So the only thing I'm not liking about the ES is it's having a hard time breaking above that 6,100. And so here's a perfect example of a rollover effect in regards to a rising wedge. You had your rising wedge here, you broke above it, right? And then bear stepped in, and then bulls tried to step back in, bring us higher, and then bear stepped in again, and then we rolled over outside of the pattern, hit about 6,050, bounced off that 6,050 level, and now we're trying to head higher. I would like to see the SPY get above 6,100. I think it's very much possible that we start seeing the SPY get towards 610. Highest we're looking at is about 614. We'll talk about that in a bit. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to the ES. We just have a lot of space up here. So I would imagine if we do get that Christmas rally, that this is the space that we need to fill towards 6,200. The highest I'm looking at is about 6,300. We'll talk about that if that happens or when we get there. So we look at the SPY. And so the SPY again is just pretty much essentially the same as the ES, right? We're still at this level that we're just having a hard time breaking. I don't know what's going to cause this break, if anything causes this break, but what I will say is that we could be looking at a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern forming here, where we form our shoulder here. You have a shoulder here, you have your head here, and then you possibly form a shoulder here, and then this yellow line will be our pretty much neckline here, and then we break higher and start heading towards 612, 614 range. So 614 is a target I'm looking at. If we're being humble, I would say 610, your psych level. And then if you're like kind of intermediate, 612. But between 610, we'll just say between 610, 614 is what I'm looking at in regards to targets. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to the SPY. Things are looking good. I would just like to see us break above this level here. And I think sometime, maybe this week, early next week, we see that break back towards the upside. And so I mean, we've been spot on. I don't know how people are missing this or not understanding or just saying I'm wrong or whatever the case may be. Like we've been spot on. I've said this multiple times. We're going to get one more pump, or at least I believed at that time that we're going to get one more pump before we see a dump. I literally said this. We look at the VIX. I mean, I called this out last video. I mean, perfection, accuracy is crazy. The VIX. I told you guys we're looking at a fallen wedge on the VIX, right? 4 hour time frame. And what did I say? What did I say? I said I don't think we're ready to break out just yet on the VIX. Feel free to rewatch it. I mean, feel free. All right. I said I don't think we're ready to break out just yet. And what's going to happen? We're going to start heading back towards the downside and fill this gap all the way towards the 13 strike range. I said this. Because I said this clear as day. And what happened? We rejected 14, 14.5, somewhere around that range. We rejected it. We rejected the top of the falling wedge. And then we started heading as low as about 13.4. I mean, the accuracy is just unreal. I don't know what else you want. Okay. So I don't understand how you get in my comments and just start hating when I've been right this whole time. So I don't know. Maybe one day you'll catch me lacking. We'll see. But regardless, I still think we're going to fill this gap. Now, if we're talking about a Santa rally, we talked about this in the last video, right? 11.69 is as low as we can go. Okay, 11.69. If we're being crazy, if we're anticipating a Santa rally, that is what I'm looking at in regards to a target. So if we're being humble, we're being conservative, look for that move towards 13 gap fill. But if we're being crazy, if we're anticipating a Santa rally, 11.69. Now, if you're new to the channel, you're wondering where I'm getting 11.69 from, all you have to do is zoom out on the VIX and you will see clear as day how many times we rejected this level. We bounced here, multiple attempts to bounce here. You bounced here like crazy. Bears tried to break us down, bull stepped in right here. You have this huge bull wick right here. And so if we're talking about a Santa rally, I imagine that is where the VIX is going to want to go. We head towards 11.69, and from there, I imagine the Santa rally is going to be over because this level here is just way too strong. And then we see that this falling wedge play out. We head towards this gap fill all the way towards 20. Yes, there's a gap here that needs to be filled. So I told you guys, my target on the VIX still remains the same. Okay, if we break this falling wedge pattern, my target still remains the same. I still think we're going to head towards 18, and if we're talking about a gap fill here, I'm looking at a move towards the 20 range. But again, I said this. I said I don't think the VIX is ready to break out just yet. I said that. So feel free to rewatch. Maybe you don't believe me. I don't know, but or maybe you need to clean your ears. I don't know, but regardless, it's here. I mean, I still think we're going to see a gap fill here, and then from there we'll see what happens from there. Again, gaps have very strong support and resistance, so we may get some type of bounce here. But if we're talking about a Santa rally, I wouldn't expect it before Christmas. I would expect it after Christmas. As long as we stay, I will say this: as long as we stay within this falling wedge prior to Christmas, there's hope for a Santa rally. I will say that much. If we break out of here prior to Christmas, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. If we break out of here and start heading towards this gap fill towards the $20 range, then I don't know. It really depends on if we break out of here and just never retest it. If we never retest this falling wedge, so let's say we do break out, right? We break out, but we never retest the falling wedge. We just keep going to the upside. At that point, I do think there is a possibility for a Santa rally, and we just head back towards down here and retest the falling wedge. That is very much possible, but for now, as long as we stay within this falling wedge, I think we're pretty safe, and there is a chance for a Santa rally, and look for that move towards 11.69. So that is my thoughts in regards to the VIX, and so we hit another earnings play today. We hit Adobe. That is, I don't know. I lost count. 5 earnings plays in a row. Discord members are saying 6 in a row. I don't know where they're getting 6 from, so I'm just gonna run with that. But I think they're talking about the other Adobe play we played. But regardless, we took puts, 525 puts. Now, to be fair, I said I'm not gonna count this. I'm still gonna talk about it, but I said I'm not gonna count this because I alerted it like 1 minute before close, so not everybody was able to get into it. So I did say that wasn't really fair. So I won't count it, but regardless. I mean, we're killing it on the earnings plays. I wanted to be different in our Discord, and I wanted to be the guy or the trader that's able to predict earnings plays because I think that separates me from a lot of traders. And so far, I got the formula. A lot of traders straddle and things like that, and that's a fine strategy and everything. A lot of traders play both sides, but I wanted to be the guy that just calls the actual direction for an earnings play. And so far, we hit five in a row. We hit like CRM, we hit I don't know what else we hit. I forgot what else we hit. CRM, Salesforce, Adobe, um, semi one of the semiconductors we hit on. But regardless, we've been killing it on the earnings plays. So if you want access to that, you want to see how we play AVGO. I do plan or have plans to play AVGO tomorrow after hours earnings. So we'll see what happens. But we did 525 puts right before close on Adobe, and right now Adobe has dropped all the way from 550 to 502 currently after hours. So we are killing it in regards to earnings. Now, everybody wasn't able to get in on this play, so again, I said it wouldn't count. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I plan on being different in my Discord. Obviously, I'm going to alert regular plays, but I wanted to be the real earnings whisperer, right? I was like, I want to be above and beyond the average trader because a lot of traders are scared to trade earnings. A lot of these Discord hosts they don't trade earnings. They say it's not safe and everything, and I totally agree, but I think I got the formula. Okay, I think I'm getting the formula. I mean, if five, six in a row hitting on earnings plays isn't enough, I don't know, but we'll see. So if you want access to our plays, if you want to see how I'm going to play AVGO, if we play AVGO earnings tomorrow, feel free to join the Discord below. I mean, Adobe just continues to drop. We are getting a hell of a bag at open, so we'll see. But other than that, I mean, that's really all I have. Oh no, I don't actually. SMH. SMH. So I can't spell. Here we go. So SMH. So SMH has bounced off the 200 daily SMA. And so this is a good sign for semiconductors, and I'm starting to lean a little bullish towards AVGO earnings, just a little bit. Okay, we'll see. I need more confirmation tomorrow, but regardless, I told you guys. I mean, I even said this in the last video. I think SMH is going to bounce from yesterday, wherever it was yesterday, like at 240 yesterday, and I said it's going to head towards 244, 245. I don't know how anyone missed that. I mean, I've called everything in the last video, and everything that's happened today, I called in the last video. So I don't know. But SMH, right now we're looking at a falling wedge pattern right here. Okay, so you see this downtrend, you see another downtrend, you hit support right here. Not only did you hit support, you can't see it, but feel free to pull it up yourself. 200 daily SMA. Historically, SMH rejects the 200 daily SMA like almost like clockwork. So that is a great sign. And so this is a good sign for AVGO. Okay, a very good sign for AVGO. So I will look out for that. I'm leaning towards the bullish side in regards to AVGO, and we'll see. Highest I'm looking at is possibly 200. Okay, 200 for AVGO. I will say that much. So if we could just break back into this rising wedge on SMH, we'll start filling these gaps. There is a gap all the way up here as well. I don't know if AVGO is going to be able to pull that off. I don't think it will, but there is a gap all the way at the 270 range. So something to look out for. There's also a fair value gap up here, but and eventually it'll need to be mitigated. So that's something to look out for in regards to SMH. I think it's going to bounce or continue to bounce from here. I would just like more confirmation and a break back above at least 250. We'll see. Okay. SMH looking good. Nvidia. So Nvidia is looking ready for something. Okay, it's looking really primal right now. So it kind of trapped bears. I will say that much. It definitely kind of trapped bears. It broke below this previous shoulder right here. So you have a head and shoulders pattern here, shoulder here, head here, another shoulder here, and then it mounted this level right here. It mounted 137. So that is a great sign for Nvidia. Okay, a very great sign. So I would look for a possible break of this neckline at around 147, 148, give or take. Psych level 150 if you want to be really safe. But yeah, Nvidia's looking great here. 4 hour time frame. I mean, it looks much better on a 4 hour time frame. Really clean. Shoulder here, head here, another shoulder here, neckline right here. You break above this, you are heading towards ridiculous levels. probably 160, 170 range. So something to look out for NVIDIA. AVGO has a big say in where the market goes. A lot of people are talking about this. Okay, enough people are not just. No one's talking about this. Okay, I cannot speak, but regardless, no one's talking about AVGO. Okay, I don't think so at least, but we'll see. I think AVGO is going to motivate the next big move for the market. And I think that goes without saying because it does, it's like the third holding for SMH. So let's actually look at AVGO just in case you don't want to join the Discord. That's completely fine. But we can at least get an idea on what I'm looking at, right? So when we're talking about AVGO, let's get rid of this. So when we're talking, so right now we are in 185 calls. We got in at 180. AVGO is closed at like 183.2 after hours. So far we're in profit on this play. But regardless, AVGO. So if we're talking about how Nvidia looks, we got to talk about how AVGO looks. And right now everything seems to be lining up. You have a shoulder here, right? You have another head here, and you don't have the best shoulder here. I will say that much. I would have liked to see it like extend a little more. But regardless, you have another shoulder here. So if this thing breaks and we're talking about a projected move, let's actually try to measure a projected move here. Okay. Um, so you all you do is measure from the top of the neckline all the way to the bottom of the head, right? And then you just bring it up to the possible breaking point. So you'll bring it back to the top of the neckline. So we can head as high as about 205, 210 range on AVGO if it does good for earnings. So we'll see. So that's what I'm looking at for AVGO. And so that's really all I have for this video. Bitcoin is doing its thing. 105K is what I'm looking at for Bitcoin if it just continues on this journey. It's still in this range right here. I'm not a fan of, so I would like to see it at least get above 104, and then we could talk. But other than that, that's all I have for this video. If you agree, let me know in the comments below. If you disagree, let me know. Just keep it respectful as always. And until the next video, traders, you have a good one.